Sometimes I think the older generation of chefs, because I work with a lot of, that older generation still, and they're like, oh, these kids are so soft. And yeah, maybe they are a little bit softer, but I think that having the quality of life is important in a kitchen, and you're going to keep really good people, and restaurateurs are realizing that. Like, yes, we need to have this.
Welcome to the show. Today we have a special guest. Today we have Stacy Mirabello. She is an associate professor and chef at Johnson & Wales University in Boston in the US. She has a certification as an executive pastry chef and culinary educator. She teaches culinary skills and nutrition to top food manufacturers and aim to become a certified research chef. She expands her culinary nutrition classes by taking as many courses as she can. And she is actually thinking about pursuing a doctoral degree in functional health. So Stacy used to work in restaurants. She used to be a pastry chef. I had the chance to work alongside Stacy in the UK for pretty much a year, I think, when she was working in pastry. So I know Stacy very well. It's been a long time since we talked. So today we spend an hour together, and we dive into her background, her journey, and her profession of today, which is being an associate professor at Johnson & Wales. So let's get into the episode. Welcome on the Montclair podcast. Today we have a special guest. Today we have Stacy Mirabello. How are you, Stacy?
Very good. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you were busy today, so I hope you can hear me well.
Yeah, all good.
Awesome. Okay, Stacy, tell me a little bit. So you used to be a pastry chef, perhaps even a restaurant chef. I don't know if you want to label it that way. And now you work as a teacher, right?
I do, yeah. So I teach now at Johnson & Wales University in Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And I've been there for about 13 years. But yes, I started in the restaurant industry as a pastry chef, and I kind of just changed my direction a little bit to focus more on health and wellness and nutrition. And then the teaching opportunity came up, and I figured, why not? Let me try this. Very different than the restaurant world. Very different.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why are you moving toward more health and wellness?
I think that's the direction of most people right now. They want to know what's going in their food, what's going in their bodies. And I always had a passion for it. Even like working in restaurants, when people would come in with allergies and dietary restrictions, I would always love to make the specials and make sure that they had the same experience as everybody else that was dining with them. So I think that's really important. So I figured that why not mix the best of both worlds, my culinary and pastry background with health and wellness, and teach people the new way of the future.
Yeah. No, I agree. And more people need this as well, because I feel like the industry in general, the food industry, is going toward a little bit of a crazy direction with, fast food and large productions and additives and long lives. And you can name a whole list of things that are going wrong, I think. So I understand. So Stacy, where did you grow up? You're originally from Boston, right?
Yeah. So I'm here right now too. Yeah, I'm from Boston. I've lived here most of my life, but on and off a lot of other places, working in restaurants and in the industry, it takes you different places you thought you'll never end up.
Yeah.
But
where?
I always came back. Yeah, like where? Like I was all over the West Coast. I was in Las Vegas for a little bit. California, England, France, Italy, and then back on the East Coast. So back to Boston, Rhode Island, New England, and yeah, love it.
Wow. So Boston, any fancy high-end restaurant around there, or what made you travel the world and go toward different restaurant and different cooking style?
Well, I have to tell you. So, do people know that we worked together at some point? Well, maybe we should address that.
Now they do.
So, when I came back from the Waterside Inn, I was
Yeah.
looking for that fine dining experience, right? I was looking to fill that void of that fast-paced environment, that quality of food, the quality of service. And in Boston, there really isn't that much. You know, there's a lot of fine dining restaurants, but there's not that level of service that you get, obviously, from a Michelin starred restaurant. So yes, there are restaurants that are really nice and high end, but no, that's not the same level of service and food as you see in Michelin and other parts of the country. But I have to tell you
Yeah.
that the food is very unpretentious in Boston. There's so many diverse restaurants and people here. So you get a lot of really great restaurants from like Chinatown. You have Cantonese, you have Japanese cooking, and then you can go to a different part of the city and you can have like Ecuadorian cuisine or Peruvian cuisine. And it's just really, really delicious food that is made with love.
Yeah. And
So,
so to go back to England where we met, that
mhm.
was a free Michelin star restaurant. What brought you there? Because I know at the time they were doing exchanges with students from Johnson and Wales, right? The
Yeah.
university.
So technically, I really wasn't a student, but I was on paper. So I was able to go overseas on that visa, which was really nice. Somebody kind of like, you know,
Yeah,
wrote
signed it
on their
off.
signature, signed it off saying, yes, you're a student. Yes, take the advantage, take this visa and go over. But I had the passion and the drive and desire to want more and to work in more fine dining restaurants. So the opportunity came up for like I think 2 weeks before I knew I was going,
Yeah.
and the opportunity came up, and I'm like, yeah, sure, all right, packed all my stuff and just went, and left. I really didn't know much, and I thought that it's England, they're gonna speak English.
No, in that kitchen, in that kitchen,
No,
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 there was
no,
mostly French.
mostly French, a little Italian, but like all French. So
Yeah.
I had to learn quick, which I spoke no French. So
Don't worry, because these guys and me, including me, a lot of us did not speak any English, so it's perfect. We're on the
yeah.
same level. We just do understand each other.
No. But I feel like, we all got along really well. You pick it up. It's food, right? We all share the same
Yeah,
language when we talk about food and around food. So it worked out
yeah,
really well.
yeah. And did you know what kind of restaurant this was going to be? Because you said there was nothing like this. Were you already aware of this incredible world of the 3 stars and this super high
Yeah.
level?
I mean, I was just because of like, cookbooks that I read and people that I surrounded myself with who were passionate about food. But I didn't know what it was like to work in a place like that, because I worked in restaurants and they were fine dining, but they weren't to that level of service
Yeah,
or food quality. So it was definitely a great experience, something I'll never regret doing that. And I
yeah.
always strive for perfection myself as a chef, and lessons I learned in that kitchen, I still take with me. And that was like over 10 years ago now. So,
Yeah, you can add a little bit more than that.
mhm.
A little bit more than 10 years.
A little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
2007.
yeah. So
Yeah.
after the world side in Stacy, what did you do? Did you continue in the world of Michelin restaurant, or what did
I
you decide to do
tried.
afterward?
Well, I
Yeah,
came back to New England and because I kind of I left a house in Rhode Island before I went. Like I said, I only knew 2 weeks before I was going.
yeah,
So I had to come home. I had to get my stuff. I had to gather myself, and I stayed in Rhode Island. And there was a restaurant called the Spiced Pear. So the it was a 4 diamond. It wasn't Michelin because there's no Michelin over here.
hmm,
So it was a 4 diamond award winning, really high end restaurant, beautiful kitchen, gorgeous kitchen, gorgeous cookware. Every piece of equipment that we used was top of the line, the food, the quality, everything. So I started working there and I switched from pastry to culinary. So I started cooking fish. So I was a
yeah,
poissonnier and fish cook for a while.
yeah,
And then I was there for about a year and a half. And then after that, I went up to Boston because that's where my family's from. And I said, I want to, put my roots back here and do something great. So I worked in a kitchen called 10 Tables, and that wasn't fine dining. It was fine dining, but it was more like farm to table style, really unpretentious food. The chef was amazing. He's like, the people I worked with were so great and passionate about what we did. And we would win all kinds of awards and accolades without all of that pressure of having that, like,
Yeah.
um, to keep up with that like Michelin level of service. And we were still winning like really great awards and really getting awesome recognition.
Yeah. And after that, where did you go? This is that when you moved to the West Coast, or was that before?
That was before. So when I came back from England, I worked at the Spice Pair, and then I said, I need something else. And then I went to Las Vegas. I worked at Atelier, Joe Robuchon Atelier,
Yeah.
Guy Savoy, um,
Amazing. I
Pierre.
mean, big names as well again.
Yeah. And I did stages, right? I didn't commit. I just wanted to stage. I wanted to see if I wanted to live out that way. I don't know if you've ever been to Las Vegas, but it's definitely a destination that's nice to visit. And I don't
Yeah,
know about
it's
living
nice
there.
for a long weekend, but then I don't know if the lifestyle when you live there full time is as enjoyable.
Yeah. So I didn't think that I needed to move out there. And actually, I was torn. So I staged out there for a few weeks here and there, actually, a couple months. And then I came back and I'm like, should I move out there? Should I do this? And I went to go see a fortune teller, like a palm
Yeah,
reader, tarot card reader.
in
And
Vegas.
no, here in Boston, because I had come back and I was going to get all my stuff and move out. And I was still not 100% into it. So I saw the fortune teller, and she basically said, "You really don't need to move out there. It's not in your cards right now. I think everything that you need internally is here in Boston, or in New England, really, and you'll find what you're looking for, and I think you'll be just as happy." So I listened to her. I listened to her advice. I took her advice, and I stayed.
We'll share his Instagram on the footnote of the show, so then people can just visit her or send her a quick message if they want.
I know, right? She was my destiny, I guess. But no, it was great. And I'm happy with my choices. So then I came back to the New England, the Boston area, and I worked at 10 Tables. Then I left there. I became a pastry chef again in a restaurant called Radius, really high end, and I hated it. I hated the person I worked for. I hated the people I worked with. They were just there because of the name. They didn't have the love and the passion for food
Okay.
like I've
Yeah.
experienced before. And at that level and that age, like I was probably like 27, 26, 27. And I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Like I want to do something for me. I want to be happy. I want to be happy about the food that I'm putting out. And I just wasn't good there. So then the teaching opportunity came up, and I figured, like, let me give it a try, let me try it. I went for it and I got the job, but then I said, I'm not ready yet to go teach. So I passed it up, and I had
Yeah.
all these people calling me from the school. Like, what are you crazy? Like, basically, what are you, stupid? Like, take this job. You can't get this job until somebody dies or, retires. That's the only way you can get into this job. Like, take it. And I said, I'm not ready. I'm just not ready to do it. So I
What
passed
did
it
you
up.
think? What did you think you were not ready?
And I wasn't ready because I wasn't ready to give up my restaurant life. I feel like I wanted more time in the industry to prove myself, to make a name for myself, which I did, in the New England area, and it was great. So I wasn't ready, and I ended up working at this little restaurant called Bergamot, farm to table restaurant. It was in Somerville, Mass, which is just outside of Boston. And I was the pastry chef. I was in charge. I had a staff, and it was small. It was only like 70 seats. It wasn't very big. But I did the bread program. I did the entire menu. So I was working 6 days a week from 6 a.m. until service was over at midnight.
Yeah.
So it was long, but I loved every single second of it. Until I didn't. Until 2 years later, I said, okay, this is enough. Let me think about my life now. Let me,
2 years.
figure
Two
this
years is a
out.
long time, and
2
these
years
long
later, time.
hours. It's like in a normal world, it's pretty much 4 years of work if you think about it.
Yeah. 6 days a week. The people that you're friends with is the people that you work with. You don't have any
Yeah.
outside life, you know?
Yeah.
And I was missing birthdays and holidays and weddings. You know, I was missing all that stuff. So the opportunity come up again to teach, and they called me and they said, Stace, like, do it again. And I said, okay, fine. So I had an interview. I did the bench test. You know, I had to do everything. It was a lot. And then I got the job, and I said, okay, this is it. This is, I'm all in. So I did it. So I made the switch, and that was great. And that
When
was
you say
about 12 years ago.
when you say that was a lot, so what kind of test do they do to let you as a professor or as a
So
teacher?
it's similar to like taking any kind of like master certification. So if you become like a certified master chef, pastry chef, it's a similar bench test. So for this one, they wanted me to do like, you know, 2 different cakes, like a birthday style cake and a wedding cake, and then I had to do plated desserts, one hot, one cold. I had to do mignardises. And then I had to give a lecture on a topic that was randomly chosen by them. So I had to create slide decks, present
Yeah.
it not even to students, present it to like who are now my colleagues. So that is terrifying to present it to a professional audience, you
What was
know,
the
and
topic? What was the topic that you got offered or you got chosen?
ice cream.
Well, I mean, this is right up your alley, right?
Yes, so it was great. It went well. However, funny story. Well, it's funny now. So one of the chefs on the bench test committee, she's allergic to cinnamon. I had no idea. So in the middle of my bench test, after I presented my hot dish, and I did a chocolate muelo, and I put a little bit of cinnamon inside of it just to give it a little different flavor.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, another chef runs into my kitchen and goes, Stacy, what is there cinnamon in there? Yeah, the cinnamon. Lumi is having a severe allergy attack. You have to stop what you're doing. Like, stop what you're doing. We have to stop this bench test. Like, basically, she was going to die. She was going to go into anaphylactic shock, like, because of the cinnamon.
Oh my
Um,
God.
oh my God, it's right. So here I am putting like my, 3 days of my blood, sweat, and tears into this presentation. I'm in the home stretch and I'm about to kill someone, you know? So it was an awful experience, an awful like feeling inside, of course. And she got it under control. She got her EpiPen, like she got that under control, and then she kind of removed herself from it, and I continued on with the rest of the
Did,
presentation, and it was crazy.
most important question, did she like the dessert before the reaction?
She did, and now you know what? We're like best of friends, and we
I
laugh
was
and
this was my next question. I'm sure this usually what happened. First you try to
yeah.
kill them, then you love them.
Then yes. So now we joke about it with our both of our dark sense of twisted humor. Yeah.
So Stacy, you're not just a teacher, you're an associate professor. Is that
Yeah.
just a fancy name for teacher in on your side of the Atlantic, or is it like another level of that you've reached?
That's it. Yeah, it's another level. So at the university, you can get there's 4 promotional ranks. So I'm at the 3rd promotional rank right now. So you get ranks throughout. One, you have to be there every 4 years. You go up for promotion, but you have to have a certain qualifications. So the first level is from instructor to associate. No, instructor to assistant
Yeah.
chef. That's what it is. So that's just like, maybe you did a couple of classes, maybe you have some certifications, and that's it. Then the next level, the second to the 3rd level, is where you have to have a master's degree. So I went back to school and got a master's degree at Boston University, and you have to have an executive certification. So I have a certified executive pastry chef certification through the American Culinary Federation, the ACF. So I had to do all those things, which were, time consuming and a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of
Yeah.
energy to get to the associate professor rank. So now I'm toying around with a doctorate in like functional health, functional medicine.
Hmm.
And then I can get to full professor, which is good. So every bump in, ranking, obviously the money is better.
Yeah.
The money is great.
I mean, the
So
work is harder as well because you got to get that level. It's not just handed over to you.
nope. No, it's a lot of work. So a lot of time. And then we create and develop these dossiers of basically every 3 years of our lives. So the dossier ends up being about 200 to 300 pages of just accomplishments and opportunities that we've done throughout those years.
When you speak about accomplishments, do you beside your work at the university, do you also work in kitchen or in pastry on the side or for special
Yeah.
events, or are you allowed?
Yeah, I'm allowed. Yep, our contract doesn't pinhole us, which is amazing because most culinary schools you either are hired as an adjunct, so part-time professor or lecturer, or full-time. So with us, we're full-time. I get paid all year round, which is great, but my contractual
Yeah.
obligation is only from September to May.
Okay.
So it allows me to do other things. So I do a ton of other things. I do a lot of research and development and product development for better for you foods. I
Yeah.
also teach down in, well, I can't really say where, but I do a lot of corporate trainings
Yeah.
for food scientists and food technologists that, they're the ones manufacturing and developing food for the American market. So I go down and I teach them nutrition. I teach them about culinary, like, helpful culinary and cooking techniques and pastry techniques, in hopes that they apply them to their jobs and then create and develop better for you foods. So I do a lot of that. So I work not necessarily in the industry of restaurants and things. Here and there I will, if somebody needs coverage or they say, Stace, can you, come in and help out with this dinner or that dinner? I do it, and I like it when I do it for a night or two. But then
Yeah.
I say, I'm glad that that's behind me, but I'm glad for the experience too,
Yeah. No. This is a very, very interesting path. Do you miss the life of restaurants since you're still
Sometimes.
doing it a little bit, or are you
Yeah,
enjoying the life you have now?
well, I miss the creativity, the putting art on a plate. That's what I miss,
Yeah.
I miss sometimes because of how we work in our kitchens at school. We're kind of separate from our colleagues. We go into our kitchen. It starts at 7 a.m. or 1:30, depending on your schedule. And we're in our kitchen with our students. And our students are new. They don't really have that connection and passion for food,
Yeah.
like we did working in restaurants. So I miss that sometimes. I do miss that, sharing the love of, the quality and level of food and the artistry of the food.
And do you think so you just mentioned it now, but I just want to dive a little bit more into it. Like, do you think is there still young people that are passionate and are interested in learning about food?
Yeah, there are some, definitely some. So the people that I teach, the population I teach, are more, focused on health and nutrition and wellness and developing better for you products. But once in a while, the other programs, I'll go in and I'll just hang out for the day just to see what they're doing. And those students, they're excited. They're excited about food. They're excited about, making people happy with what they're putting on a plate. So, yeah, they're out there.
Yeah. Okay. Stacy, why did you become a chef or a pastry chef in the first place? You could have done anything, right?
I could have, yeah. I know people
And that's
ask
my
me
next
questions.
question. That's my next
Yeah,
question. What would you have done if you
I
didn't
would.
start in a kitchen?
I think I'd be like a rock star. Like I would be like a some sort of musician.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I love that. I don't know, just that non-normal life, right? Like this,
Yeah.
that you just go out, and you make people happy with some kind of art.
Yeah.
So I would do something like that. But it's really hard to think about because I've just always loved food. I've always loved food. Like cooking I come from an Italian American background, and everything is about food.
Yeah.
Always. I used to stay home from school. My mom would be like, well, you go into grandma's, but, grandma didn't have cable TV. She didn't have toys. She didn't have anything. So he just cooked all day. And I loved it. Like, I loved it. We would watch Julia Child on PBS. We would watch Jacques Pepin. And we would just cook. We would make
Yeah.
lentil soup. We would stuff cabbage. We would make gravy, and then like meatballs, and it was awesome. I loved it. So when I got to college, like time to pick for college, I knew I wanted to cook. I had a cousin that went to Johnson and Wales, and she went for culinary, and I didn't want to be just like her. So they have a pastry program at Johnson and Wales. So I said, let me try pastry.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't like dessert. I'm not a sweet. I don't eat. I am not a sweet tooth at all. Like, I just don't enjoy it. But what I do enjoy is the science behind it.
Yeah.
That's what I really like in the baking application. So once I got into baking and pastry, I really liked like understanding the function of the ingredients and how to make food taste better, work with it better. Like, so I think that's why I went into, the pastry. I kind of just draw myself. But my freshman year, this is a kind of a cool story too. I hated what I did. I hated it. I was second guessing myself again, second guessing myself. Did I make the wrong decision? And I was going to drop out, and they told me, well, you can leave, but you already paid for the semester, so you can stay or go home, whatever. So I was mortified to tell my parents. So I just stayed, and I'm happy that I stayed because I had a teacher, another chef, who believed in me that second class and really like saw the spark in me and my passion for food and made me stay in this program. And I just loved it. And I thank her. She's my colleague now. I work with her.
Yeah.
So I tell her this story, and she just automatically tears up and, starts like, oh my gosh, it's so impactful as a teacher. So she had
Yeah.
such an impact on me. Really, that really stuck with me throughout all these years. And now for me to do the same thing to my students, I love it. So to go back to your original question, I just stuck with pastry because she believed in me, and then I was like, oh, I like the science. I like this stuff. So
Yeah. And so Italian blood running in a family, that
yeah.
obviously, like you say, that brings a lot of recipe, a lot of traditions. Do you feel like in the US you have traditionals for food like you would have
Oh
in
yeah.
Europe? Or
Yes. Yeah. Yep. My parents, they're second generation Italian, so we very much share the same cultural traditions. Like on Christmas Eve, we eat seven fish. We do we do the family style dinners. We get together often. It's like the family as the friends. We enjoy each other's company. We drink wine, we relax. We travel together. So yes, as in my world, yes, the culture definitely is stuck with us here. It's getting a little harder now because kids are getting older, everybody's busy, more people are
yeah,
working, people are dying, right? So it is what it is. But we're still, we still maintain what we can, and we appreciate our time together when we do hang out.
yeah, yeah. So what do you still cook when you're home now, or you just
Yeah,
keep it for your professional life?
all the time, all the time. I cook.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's good. You
yeah.
haven't stopped.
No. What about you? Do you cook at home?
Yeah, but depends. I also really, what? I really enjoy going out to restaurants. I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy when other people cook for me because I feel like I spend so many hours doing it that now it's my turn.
Mm-hmm. True, but sometimes I feel like, oh, I go out and I say, man, I could make this so much better at home.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's definitely one problem. But I have learned to turn it off.
Yeah,
Otherwise, there's no
good.
enjoyment. Otherwise, I just go out and it's not even worth it.
It's fun. It is fun. I enjoy it. I do like it. People come over all the time. I always have company over the house, and we eat together. Share stories, laugh. It's fun.
So, Stacy, would you recommend anyone if you got like you know young friends or people that are thinking about getting into the hospitality industry? What do you say to them? Would you say like yes, go ahead, or would you say you know maybe choose something else?
Yeah, no,
Because it
I
is
say
it is
yes.
a
Go
hard
ahead.
industry.
Yeah, for sure. I say yes, go ahead. And I think the industry as a whole is changing, right? People are getting paid better, right? They're getting
Yeah.
appreciated for the time that they're spending there, which makes me a little bit like, pissed off because we spend so much time and energy getting paid nothing.
But
not
maybe
not
maybe we
much.
work toward this, and then this is the the fruit of our labor.
maybe I would like to
This is
look
our
at it like
gift.
that. Yeah, okay, I like that. Yeah, but I do, I do see students, I do see the younger generation, that they're excited. And we do need people that are, good at what they do. Because like you just said, you enjoy going out to eat. I love to travel. You enjoy good hospitality. It's appreciative, right? It makes you feel good when people feel good about their choices that they made, right? Like if you go to a Ritz-Carlton or somewhere, right? You feel good that you're there and they're making you feel good. It's one of those things that they're happy to work for you. They're happy to, wait on you. They're happy to cater to you. And you appreciate it so much more. Like I appreciate it so much more because
Yeah.
we understand, right? We're in this business. So for the younger generation, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to get them interested, but I do encourage it. And because I work with so many different personalities, you can see the students, you can kind of see who's in it to be in the hospitality business and who's cut for it and who's not. So the ones that aren't necessarily like cut out for it, I may say, why don't you try to be a research and development chef? You're not in the
Yeah.
forefront. You're kind of in the backgrounds, but you're still making an impact on the, way people eat. So I kind of play towards whoever I'm talking to,
Yeah.
about going into the industry.
Yeah. And you just mentioned R&D chefs. Is there many
Yes.
many jobs for such chefs?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. And this is a whole new world I'm getting into for the past like 7-ish years. I started diving into that world because you can make such an impact, but you're not in the forefront, right? You're not in the limelight. You're just developing food, and then one day I'll just, oh wow, I developed that, and it's on, on a shelf in the grocery store or something,
And you get no
which is
credit for it.
no. Self gratification though, it's like it's a
Yeah.
small win for certain things. So
But
um
how do you find these kind of jobs?
they come around. So I started working, how did I get into this? Just for me doing different events. So I teach regularly at this conference every year in Western Mass, and it brings a lot of people internationally to this one place. And just over the years, talking to people, networking,
What's the
you
name of the
know,
conference?
it's called a chef's culinary conference. Chefs, yeah,
Okay.
Taste of the Nation's Chef's Culinary Conference. It's at UMass Amherst every year, and it's a really great event. So it's institutional chefs, so chefs that are working for colleges and universities, and they come here and they learn new concepts. So I'll teach them about like plant-based cuisine, or you know, baking with whole grains, or reducing sugar and things. But you just have to develop a network, and then there's sponsors of the event. So every year there's sponsors like, say, like Nestle, like a
Yeah.
big company like that, they'll sponsor. So you'll start to know those people because you'll see them often. And then I started to work other events, like I go to the National Restaurant Association show every year, and I work for an innovation company based out of Chicago, and we have different clients. So it's just little by little, just networks, and just kind of saying yes to these things instead of,
Yeah.
you know, staying away from them. And I said, yeah, let me figure out this world. This seems pretty cool. I can have a normal life. I can make money on the side of my normal teaching job, and I can make an impact on the way people eat. Like, this is cool. Like, for me, it was cool. So that's how I got into it. And then the jobs just come to you. So then people just call you, because then it's just word of mouth. Like, hey, I know you did this. I know you did this. Can you develop a product? Can you make sure it has, like, whatever, a certain percentage of
How
fiber? Yeah.
how long does it take to develop a product? Are you working with these guys for like a few weeks, few months? Like, is it
It, de-
ongoing?
it depends. So usually it's in stages, and it depends on the product. So sometimes it's not just a product. Sometimes it's like a whole department. So recently I just worked with a university in
Hmm.
Midwest U.S., and they wanted to revamp their whole bakery program, their whole pastry program for their students, and they didn't know where to start. So they came to this company I work with, and I was put on the job to kind of redevelop and redefine what they're serving, and redevelop their recipe. So that was like a 3-month project. It's all contractual. And then after 3 months, you deliver what they wanted you to do. And then you revisit it and say, well, I could do this, this, and this, but it's going to take another 2 months. So then you on a 2-month contract. So it all depends. I've worked with seafood companies before, and that's been like a 4-month deal. Yeah.
Do you feel like this could be a full-time business if you were not working as a professor?
Yes, but I have the best of both worlds. So I don't
Yeah.
foresee myself giving up either of these things in the future. I call it a side hustle. My side hustle allows me in the summers, and I have 3-day weekends at the university, which is great. So it allows me to do all these other things and
Yeah.
still keep connected to current trends in industry and
Yeah.
what's going
That's
on.
amazing. You're not
Yeah.
isolated. You are isolated, but you are not, because you have still one feet on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing though, I am isolated is the restaurant world because
Yeah.
I'm not really in that world anymore. So that's
Could you
that's
not
something I miss.
venture into consulting, or do you not feel like there might be um, maybe room for you to do a little bit of help out some restaurateur here and there?
Yeah, I just don't know if I have that passion to do that.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather make an impact on cause just my direction now, health and wellness, I'd rather make a bigger impact and on, what people actually put in their bodies and make them feel good, instead of just focusing my time on one concept in one restaurant. I've
Yeah.
toyed around with it. I've developed menus for restaurants, but I don't have that drive anymore to do
Yeah.
that.
No, I understand. I
Yeah.
understand. And you mentioned plant-based food. Do you feel like plant-based is eating plant-based food? Do you think it's going toward a more healthy lifestyle or sort of diet?
Yeah,
Because this is a
I
little
do.
bit controversial. There's a bit of both. Like, some people say it is, some people say it depends. You can just have a healthy, balanced lifestyle and diet, and it's sufficient.
Yeah, but if you look at Europeans, typically, they're a little bit healthier than Americans.
Yeah,
Americans are probably the least healthiest in the world.
yeah,
And we study this blue zones quite a bit,
yeah,
especially in my classes. We talk a lot about that stuff. So I think, looking for inspiration and influences what's happening over in Europe and other parts of the world, Central and South America, some countries, Central and South America. We can learn a lot from them, but it I don't want to get too in detail, but obviously it starts with the government, and
yeah,
sometimes it's not as easy to just make a
yeah.
change that quickly.
No, of course.
Um, yeah, but I do think that if people are more aware of what they're putting in their bodies, and whether it's plants or just minimal animal proteins,
Yeah,
and not just the animal proteins could be fine if they're like grass fed, grass raised, grass fed, and slaughtered humanely, but that's not always the case. We're a big country. We need to feed people. And
yeah,
I think we're the only country that has an obesity problem and a hunger issue as well. So there's a
yeah,
lot of issues here. But I do think that eating more plants is better. Whole foods, plant-based diet,
yeah.
not like eating Oreos and potato chips, but like
100%.
eating real.
I think this
Yeah.
is stating the obvious, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hmm.
Stacy, you mentioned a few times making an impact. Why is it important for you to make an impact?
I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of like my calling. I just think that
Yeah,
if I could do it, if I could do it, why not? Why not share my knowledge and my love and passion for food and put it into something that's equally as delicious, and give it to somebody. I don't know, and to make them feel good, and it's good for them. It's healthful for them. I I don't know. To me, that's a win. That's impactful. I think it's just kind of my calling. I always wanted to do something that's of importance.
is there now, if we step out of the university and your teaching programs and activities, is there a restaurant in the world that you would like to go to? Is there anyone that you keep an eye on, or you just keep informed on what they're doing? Anyone that you see that is like kind of standing out from the crowd?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just ate at 11 Madison Park not that long ago. That was pretty
That
cool,
goes
you
back to what
know?
we were talking about plant
Yeah.
based, and yes,
Yeah. I
excellent
mean, that,
transition.
yeah. So, yes, I do. I watch, 11 Madison Park. I see what's out there.
Yeah. How was it?
Thomas
How
Keller.
was it? Because
It
that's
was
now a
phenomenal.
fully plant based 3 Michelin star tasting menu, right?
No, it is. A vegan, totally vegan.
Vegan, okay. And
I
how was
asked for
it?
blue cheese. I asked for blue cheese olives in my martini, and they said no blue cheese is vegan. And I said, oh shit.
Fair enough.
Fair enough is right. Um, it was great. I mean, and it's more about the experience too, right? The
Yeah.
whole thing. I mean, the service was. I think the service outshined the food. To be honest,
Yeah.
the food was phenomenal, but the service was what really made it. And I'm not a very big person, and it doesn't like I don't need a lot of food to feel full, but I felt like that I could probably have eaten a little bit more
Yeah.
after I left, maybe just a little bit bigger portions of things. But the
Yeah.
food itself was phenomenal. And the quality of service was unbelievable. And to eat there and then like to take a kitchen tour and a wine cellar tour, that was like, oh, I really want to get back in the industry. That made me feel like that passion, for the industry. And I don't know. But then I was like, no, no, this is what I do. I teach. I'm a teacher now.
What if tomorrow they call you and they say, "Hey, Stacy, do you want to come and do a 3 week stage at the
I
restaurant
do
at
it.
11 Madison?"
Yeah, I would
You
do
do
it.
it?
3 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. For if I had an end time. Yeah. Yeah.
6 weeks?
I could do 6 weeks too. Yeah. But I don't think any more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other place that you've been looking at, or that you wish you could go and eat?
Um, well, I always wanted to go to Arzac in San Sebastian, in
Yeah.
Spain. Um, and I don't know.
I'm a little
There's
bit
so
biased
many.
with Arzac in San Sebastian, to be honest, because
You are?
I may or may not have done a very short stage there.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and you're bad taste in your mouth?
I thought it was, look, I think these guys have done a lot for the culture in Europe, and especially the Spanish restaurant history, if you want to call it like that. But the dishes that maybe for me, maybe I'm more of a bit more traditional in what I like, or I like to cook. For me, it
Hmm.
was a lot of show, a lot of presentation on the plate. It was a lot of, maybe a little bit too much colors on different things, and a lot of texture, and not really. Again, I was just on the side, preparing with some of the stagiaires. So I was not sitting in the restaurant with the service, the wine, the experience. I didn't have the full experience. But for me, it was not what I was expecting, or maybe it was too much of what I was expecting, because they are avant-gardist. They're creating things that are like different, look different. You don't even know what it is you're eating, and it was, for me, it was, I would not put it on the top 10 of my list of restaurants to try, but
Oh,
maybe
okay.
11, 12, because like I said, I haven't tried I haven't actually tried the food, so I cannot say. I mean, this guy's been there for a long time. They have 3 Michelin star. They have been awarded so many things.
Yeah.
It's not just my small opinion after two days in the kitchen. Like it doesn't make them justice. I'm sure I should go and eat there, and then we can have the conversation
Hmm.
again. But would you go and
Yeah.
work there?
Well, I wanted to after the water side in, but I couldn't get my visa extended. So I went to England instead. I went to France instead, and then I came back to England. But
Yeah.
um, no, I mean, I would, because it's always been on my list. But yeah, I mean, I still would. Yeah.
And Stacy, do you feel like it was, or do you think like it is better now for female chefs in kitchens?
Yeah. Oh,
Did
yes,
you
for
ever did
sure.
you ever suffer from that, or did you feel like you have to, just push harder
Um,
than other guys to get respect? Or
I don't think like because my skill level, I'm always very confident in my skill level. Like I feel
yeah,
very confident in the kitchen. I always have felt very confident in the kitchen, and it's not so much about I guess proving myself. I think it's more of like the harassment that you get that comes along with being a female in the kitchen. It's just um, I could always give it back. I'm not a shy person. I'm not a weak person. and I have very thick skin. But looking back on some of my experience, on a lot of my experiences in the restaurant and the kitchens, yeah, like it is tough. You do get treated differently. You do get looked at differently. You get talked to differently, and maybe even paid differently. At some
Yeah.
points too. But it is very different now. I feel like, especially in these American kitchens. I can't speak for European style kitchens, but here I
Yeah.
think it's very different. I mean, just looking at my students and our student body, it's 50% females, 50% males, maybe even a little bit more female population. So, they're I don't think it matters so much anymore. And there's some really phenomenal
Yeah.
female chefs out there.
Yeah.
So
No, 100%, 100%. And to be honest, there is some incredible chefs out there, and also because they go through sometimes some tough times, they get so much better than other chefs. Like, it's incredible the level they can reach. It's always impressive. And no, but it's a good thing. But you're right as well when you say that the kitchen environment has changed as well. I don't think it's only in the US, in Europe as well. There's a lot more restaurants that they just can't afford to have 17 hours workday for the staff. They have to cut it down. They have to pay people. If they don't pay them better, they pay them what they work, which is already a big step, because coming from the restaurant industry, you usually get paid per month and you work as much as is needed. And now a lot of these restaurants are shut for 3 days a week. So it's now a shorter week, shorter days. So it is getting much better, I think.
yeah, I agree.
What about in the US? Do you think like it's the same? Do you think like the restaurant are also not only to afford a better lifestyle to the chefs, but do you think like to keep the staff, they also shutting down a bit more the restaurant, or how do they run the staff now? How do they do?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I think now head chefs and restaurateurs, they're realizing, yes, we need to give our staff a better quality of life to keep them, right? We can't like work them to the bone. We can't have that. They need mental health, days.
Yeah.
They need some time for themselves. And it is important, and sometimes I think the older generation of chefs, because I work with a lot of, that older generation still, and they're like, oh, these kids are so soft. And yeah, maybe they are a little bit softer, but I think that having the quality of life is important in a kitchen, and you're going to keep really good people. And restaurateurs are realizing that, like, yes, we need to have this. So one of my most favorite chefs that I've ever worked for is in Boston, and I still keep in contact with him regularly. He owns about 4 or 5 restaurants, and he says, I make time, because he has children, young children. He's like, I make time for them. I can trust my staff enough on the weekends to work service, and I can hang out with my family and feel confident about that. I mean, he put a lot of time and energy into training his staff at first,
Yeah.
but he keeps them. I mean, like, he keeps them because he gives them the same quality of life that he wants for himself. Obviously, the first line cook isn't going to take a Saturday night off, but he may get, okay, every Tuesday, Wednesday is your days off, and he'll give them stipends to buy cookbooks or buy new knives or things like that. He encourages them
Wow.
to go out and eat, and so I think, yes, people are realizing to keep good people, you have to give them the quality of life and pay them respectfully, of course, pay them decent.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And it's we're moving toward that, so that's good. It's always good.
Good. Yeah.
Stacy, if tomorrow you've got an investor coming to you and he said, Stacy, let's open a restaurant, what do you do?
No. Let's open an innovation center. A restaurant, I mean, it depends on the concept. If I could do it, and
You have
I don't
carte
know.
blanche. What's the concept? What's your
Oh,
concept?
God. Well, it would be plant-based, but it wouldn't be plant-based advertised plant-based. It wouldn't be like that. It would be very like meat minimalistic. I don't know. I just enjoy cooking like Mediterranean style foods. I enjoy, like, I'm not saying don't eat animals, right? But make
Yeah.
most of your plate vegetables, whole grains, things like that. Um, if I had unlimited funds, I would get like the highest, the best quality ingredients. I think just like a farm to table, non-pretentious. I know I keep saying that word, but I just like food that you can taste the love and the passion from the person who's making it. And that's what I would do. I would just do something that is simple foods, delicious foods, looks beautiful on plates, nothing molecular, nothing, over the top, nothing like
Yeah.
taste this balloon of air, like none of that stuff. It would just be real food done right, for people that enjoy a night out.
Yeah. Where would you open the restaurant?
Well, here, because I love Boston.
Any special area? Any special setting?
Um, well, I'm really close to the beach. I love the beach. I mean, I'm pretty tan right now, but I've been at the beach all summer long, which is another reason why I love my teaching schedule, because I can have this awesome quality of life and do things outside.
Yeah.
But somewhere on the beach, there's a place called like Marblehead or Gloucester, Rockport. So somewhere on the ocean, near the ocean.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Stacy, if you could give one advice to yourself, to the young pastry chef Stacy, what would you say?
I think about that often.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really like regret anything. I think what I would say to myself is find your path earlier on. Because I said yes to a lot of things, just to do them, just like, oh, it's great money, it's quick money, or
Yeah.
what a cool experience, but it didn't really add value to my profession. I think I would
But
just
you only
find my
found it out about this after doing it, so perhaps it
yeah.
was worth doing it.
Yeah, that's how I look at it too, but if I could go back in time, I think I would find like the bridging the gap between health and wellness and like pastry and food a little bit earlier on, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad at any of my past. I love my path. I think it's great. I mean, I think it makes me who I am, and what I
No, it's
bring.
just it could also be simply an advice of something you've learned now that you
Yeah.
wish, oh, I wish I knew that 10 years, 15 years ago, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I wish. You know what I wish is that I didn't curdle my white chocolate sauce when I applied for a 4-year scholarship to the university. I curdled my white chocolate sauce and I knew exactly why it happened, like after it happened, after the fact, later on in life.
Everything happened for a reason, right?
It did. It did. Yeah, it did. But yeah, no, I don't know. I like my path. My advice would just be like, I don't know, keep on keeping on, maybe say no to more things and enjoy life a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Be more
later on.
selective.
Yeah, more selective. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Stacy, we're reaching the end of the pod. One last question: if I give you an hour with anyone in the world, past or present,
No.
who do you choose and what do you talk about?
I think Anthony Bourdain. He was always my. I looked up to him a lot, and I looked up to how he was and how real he was. I would love to sit with him and just hear his stories. Because when you read his books and you can hear his voice, But I would just love to just sit with
Yeah.
him and listen to his experiences, in real time.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. It's such a cool guy, and he's got this rock star vibe as well that you mentioned
Yeah,
before. So,
yeah, yeah.
all right, Stacy, thank you so much for the time. What are you up to today?
Well, like I said, that's why I look like this. I painted my parents' kitchen. I was painting the kitchen today. I paint all my hair. And now I'm just going to go home and probably think about what's for dinner. So it's about 4 o'clock. What time is it
Awesome.
there?
For me, it's almost 10 o'clock, 10
Oh my
p.m.
goodness. I know. Thanks for opening up more times. I'm like, fucking 4 a.m. I'm not going to get up at 4 a.m.
I know, but that's why I did it, because obviously I
Thank
gotta
you.
be a bit flexible if I want to have people like you from the US that, if I want to get an hour of your time, I got to choose, open up some more time. So no,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Stacy. It was a pleasure to have you. It's been a while.
Hmm.
Next time will catch up in real life, perhaps.
Yes, definitely will. All right.
All
Thanks for
right.
having me.
Thank you, Stacy.
Okay.
Thanks.
Take
Ciao,
care.
ciao.
All right. Bye. Bye.